behind closed doors. I'm a fool for your love.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and welcome back to the Anthony James Show here on Sports Fan Entertainment. Like always, I'm here with my NFL Power Rankings, and oh boy was Week 11 a good week for me. If you follow my channel, Anthony James TV, by the way, link in the description, go check it out. But I do weekly NFL predictions for all the games, and last week I went 12-2, easily my best week of the season. And maybe that's in part why a lot of teams stayed the same. 14 teams did not change spots this week. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Let's look at the power rankings for this week. We start out the first 4 teams stay in the same spot. The Cowboys, the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Seahawks. They are all in the same spot. Cowboys deserve it. They're 9-1. They're doing really well. They definitely deserve to be number 1. Now I have Patriots 2, Raiders 3, Seahawks 4. You can make arguments any way you want there, but I like my order. I think that represents how and where the teams are at this point. I don't think it'll be. I think the Seahawks are going to be in the Super Bowl, but I think the safest pick right now for a Super Bowl would be the Cowboys and the Patriots. That's safest, of course. I don't think that'll happen. Next, the Broncos move up 1 spot to number 5. I know that breaks my rule of not having bye teams. I always keep bye teams the same. In this case, the Chiefs lost. That means the Broncos are now ahead of them. Plus, I just trust the Broncos more than I do the Chiefs. So I move them up 1 spot. I also move the Giants up 1 spot to 6. I picked the Cowboys to win the NFC East, and I still think they will. But let's not count out the Giants yet. They're 7-3. They're the one team to beat the Cowboys thus far this season, and they're only 2 games behind. If they beat them again, 1 game, and the Cowboys have to lose more than 1 game this season, right? Regardless, though, Giants are definitely a quiet team we need to talk about. Next, the Chiefs at number 7 moved down 2 spots. Oh well, Chiefs, you lost a game. That's how it works. Only moved you down 2 spots, even though you lost a game you shouldn't have. Regardless, though, Chiefs are still a decent team, although this loss doesn't help. The Dolphins are really trying to get the playoffs. You are having a tough schedule to finish out the season. You need to win. You didn't. That could potentially hurt your playoff hopes. After that, we have 3 teams staying in the same spot. The Falcons at 8, the Redskins at 9, and the Lions at 10. Falcons bye week, that's why I kept them there. Redskins and Lions, I really wanted to move you up this week. Trust me, I did. But I just can't. The only way I could really have moved you up is by moving the Chiefs and Falcons down, which I wasn't going to do that. Both of these 2 teams are doing a pretty good job. Redskins, you're in a tough division, but yet you're still competing. Lions, you could potentially be in sole possession of the NFC North after Thursday. That would definitely be an interesting game. But talking about Thursday, the team you're facing, the Vikings, I move them up 2 spots to 11. I know people have been saying I'm biased about the Vikings, which actually surprises me. If you've been watching all of my power rankings, week 1, I was anything but biased about the Vikings, and I still feel that way. The only reason I have them as high as they do is because they were 13 last week. The 2 teams ahead of them that are no longer are the Arizona Cardinals, a team they beat, and the Philadelphia Eagles, a team with the worst record, and a team that lost this week. So that's just how it rolled. The Vikings move up 2 spots because of that. Next, the Dolphins. I gave them a big jump. They move up 6 spots. They are looking good, like I've just mentioned a little bit ago. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and that Chiefs loss really helps them. I actually think the Dolphins can make the playoffs. And as somebody who's predicted it the last 2 years, of course the year I don't predict it, they might actually make the playoffs. The Dolphins are playing good football right now. After that, the first time I've ever done this in my power rankings, I moved up a team that lost. I moved up the Ravens. You might be asking, why did you move them up? Well, the reason I did, for one, they play competitive against the Cowboys. I moved them up 3 spots because I've been having them kind of low, and let's be honest, we're 11 weeks into the season, and they have the tiebreaker for first in their division right now. They deserve to be above the Steelers, and will they keep this? I don't know. I think the Bengals are now out of competition, so it's just beating the Steelers, which I think they can do. But I decided to move them up. They deserve to move up this week, even though they lost, and that's why I moved them up. I don't like moving teams up that lost, but I did do it this week. Then at number 14, the Steelers move them up one spot. They beat the Browns, so I guess they deserve to move up, but I wasn't going to move them up much. Next, the Texans, they lost. Good game against the Raiders. You could make arguments about the refereeing, whatever. They lost. A loss is a loss. I only moved them down one slot, though. They're playing decent, and right now they are first in their division. Next, to finish off the top half, the Eagles, I move them down 4 spots to 16. Might be a little bit too much, but that's how it fell this week. They did lose against a good team in Seattle, though, so I wouldn't worry too much. Although, on the other hand, you're in a tough division. 5-5 is good enough for 4th right now in your division. You have an uphill battle to make the playoffs. You essentially need to win every game except for maybe one. I don't think even 2. I think there's going to be a 10-6 team that misses in the NFC North. Or, excuse me, the NFC. So that means this team is going to have to win every game to finish out the season. And they might be able to lose one and they'll make the playoffs. But they have a tough road ahead of them if they want to make the playoffs. Next, the Colts move them up 2 spots, continue their streak. Andrew Luck has yet to lose to the Titans. That's why I picked the Colts. I don't know why people were picking the Titans. But regardless, they won. They're definitely still in contention for the division. It's tough. They're probably not going to have Andrew Luck this week, and they need him. They need him. They should be able to beat the Steelers, but it hurts without Andrew Luck, so it might be closer than it could be. We'll see what happens, but the Colts, don't count them out for the division yet. The not the Falcons. The Cardinals, I move them down 7 spots to 18. They deserve this. Frankly, they deserve to be even farther. This team's not a playoff team. It is not a playoff team. I'm happy I didn't have them winning the division, and I didn't have them going to the Super Bowl. I had them going to the Super Bowl and winning it last year. I came pretty close to that this year. I had a feeling they would fall off. I didn't think Carson Palmer could repeat what he did last year. I also thought Larry Fitzgerald's just getting older. They have an old roster in some key areas, and you are seeing the consequences of that. Palmer's playing still, which is kind of surprising that he hasn't been injured yet. But regardless, this team's getting old, and you're seeing the consequences of that on the field. They are 18. They could be much lower. Next, the Buccaneers had a very good win to move up 5 spots to 19. Definitely still in it for the division. They're only 1 game behind the Falcons. 1 game, and I'm pretty sure they've already beat the Falcons this season. So don't count them out. Do not count out the Buccaneers. They very well could take this division. I don't trust the Falcons, so I think it could happen. Buccaneers had a huge win. If they keep playing like that, they can and will win the division. Next, the Bills move them up 2 slots. Bills, 5-5. We'll see how you do as the season progresses, but you're making the Bills' job of keeping Rex Ryan harder and harder because this could be an 8-8 team the way they're playing. I guess we'll see what happens. Bills, I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know when it comes to the Bills. I don't think they'll finish great, though. Next, the Titans. I decided to keep them at 21, even though they lost. Main reason is I honestly feel bad. I've been giving the Titans I don't want to say hate, but I just haven't given them enough rise throughout the season. They're 5-6, so they do have a losing record, but they have 5 wins. They have a bye week this coming week now, but yeah, I kept them at 21. I didn't think they should fall after the way they've been playing overall this season. Next, the Packers move them down 5 spots to 22. It seems each and every week this team's becoming more and more out of the playoff hunt. At this point, I think they lose to the Vikings, they lose to the Lions, maybe even the Bears, and that's not a good thing, Packers. You're looking really bad. I'm going to talk about the Packers in an upcoming video on my channel, so if you want to hear my opinions on the Packers, check out that video. Hopefully it will be out this week. Next, the Chargers kept them the same at 23. Again, bye week, so I kept them the same. Bengals moved them down 4 slots. Bengals are done. Bengals are done. They're done. They're done. On the one hand, I picked the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl, and they still have a very good shot at doing that. On the other hand, I didn't feel like picking a team like the Patriots, which I should have. So instead, I went with the Bengals because I thought, now or never, and I guess it's never because they have had a poor season. They're not out of the division hunt, let's say that, okay? Let's just remember that. 3-6-1, 5-5 currently is tied for first in that division. And they could win. They could go 4-2, 5-1, or even 6-0 to finish the season. I think it'll be tough, but it could happen. And that, frankly, is the only way. I don't think even 4-2 will be good enough, because 7-8-1 I don't think is good enough to win this division. So they have to go at least 5-1. At this point, I don't think that's going to happen, though. Next, the Panthers move them up 2 slots. They were able to beat the Saints like I figured they would. Again, just like with the Buccaneers, don't count them out of the division yet. I know people already have, like, hold on, the Falcons always fall apart in the second half of the season. Why is this season going to be different? I think the Buccaneers and Panthers have a very good shot at winning the division. Saints, I decided to be nice to you guys for once. I kept you in the same spot. You lost this week, but you came back. You almost won, so I got to give you credit for that. I decided to keep you there. Next, the Rams, you move 2 slots. What a terrible franchise, honestly. Like, why is Jeff Fisher still head coach? It makes 0 sense to me. Get Fisher out if you have any hopes of going back to the playoffs, or even having a winning record at that. No, even an 8-8 record. You haven't had that under Jeff Fisher. I don't get it. At least Jared Goff started. You have something bright to look at. And the next 5 teams stay in the same spots. The Jets at 28, the Bears at 29, Jaguars at 30, 49ers at 31, and Browns at 32. Jets had a bye week, so that's the excuse this week. The other 4 teams, they lost. Bears could have won. Jaguars could have won. They choked it. And as a Vikings fan, I wanted the Jaguars to win because they needed to beat the Lions. But they've been playing bad. Both teams have been playing bad. Jay Cutler being out for the rest of the season doesn't help. As a Vikings fan, I've seen a lot of injuries this season. It's even worse there in Chicago, which is crazy to think. And it doesn't help that Alshon Jeffrey's suspended. Oh boy, at least for you guys, you're probably happy because you're going to get a top 5 pick and probably get a quarterback, which you desperately need, Chicago. Then the 49ers, they've been horrible. Do you start Christian Ponder? As a Vikings fan, I just want to see Ponder start because it's funny. But seriously, like, you're not keeping Kaepernick next year. At this point, you need to keep Chip Kelly, though, because you need to build on something. You can't fire another guy in 3 seasons. 3 coaches fired in 3 seasons. That's a terrible, terrible look for a franchise. Who's going to want to coach a team that's fired a coach the last 3 seasons? And then the Browns. I feel bad. This team, you're running out of chances to win. Please win a game. I don't want to see this team go 0-16. It doesn't deserve that. They have to win one eventually, right? Right? Chargers, something, right? But those are my power rankings this week. As always, give me your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I do love to hear that. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. If you're new to me, you can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyJamesTV and subscribe to my channel, Anthony James TV, for plenty of NFL videos. Both links are in the description. I hope you enjoyed this week's power rankings, and until next time, this is Anthony. I'm out. See you all later.
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.